Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this wonderful Wednesday for another daily cryptocurrency market update. If you are new around here and finding yourself on this channel and my videos for the first time, we release an update just like this one every single day at 1 p.m. UK time to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening with the crypto markets, but also the broader markets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We have a lot to get through as always. We're going to be starting the video off with a recent appearance from Cathie Wood, talking about why Gensler is not approving a Bitcoin spot ETF. And she cites manipulation. I would argue that a lot of the traditional assets are indeed manipulated, and actually that Bitcoin offers a greater level of transparency given its on-chain nature. It's kind of public. It's a public ledger, essentially. So we will be looking at that, then going over to JP Morgan weighing in on this. And then, of course, yesterday was a monumental day for the markets with the CPI expectations. We'll be going over to the dollar. You guys know that we very much said it's all about getting the dollar right, and you will get your risk assets right in terms of direction. And we've shown the correlation there. And, of course, yesterday we were expecting a lower CPI print. We did indeed get one. And, of course, the dollar reacted to it. However, crypto didn't. And I think this is to do with it having already done a lot, running into key technical levels, pulling back, but now it looks like it's setting up. Generally, the theme of yesterday was it's a risk on confirming moment with the CPI, but we will be looking at that. And then we're going to be diving into the total market cap of this entire space, which we think has now broken out and very much confirmed an uptrend ahead of us. Everything that we've been talking about since the start of the year is coming to fruition. And of course, we are positioned accordingly. You want to find out what I'm buying and where, do consider becoming a Patreon. We've got a technical meeting tonight. And also, first thing to do when you join is catch up on the meeting that we had on Sunday so that you guys can get familiar with where we're at as a group and what my portfolio entails. And my portfolio at this point is looking rather healthy. It's been a very turbulent year for all of us, I think, but we are coming out the other side of it. So the first thing that I want to do, guys, is go ahead and play a clip of Cathie Wood talking about Gensler's reluctancy towards a spot Bitcoin ETF and why. And actually, to follow this up, for anybody that's interested, we did a video yesterday where we actually spoke about the likelihood of altcoin ETFs coming. Ethereum was the first domino to fall in this. We had the false XRP news, but you are, in my opinion, going to get, or we are going to be moving into a reality where you are going to have altcoin ETFs and basket of altcoin ETFs, just like you see with the stock market. Crypto, in my opinion, is an asset class. Of course, we look at it daily, and we're very much confirmed in that. So let's start the video off, guys, by taking a look at Cathie Wood, what she has to say, talking about it, going over to JP Morgan's comments, and then getting into some sort of traditional markets mixed with the cryptocurrency markets.
The showstopper, at least from Gary Gensler's point of view, is he thinks Bitcoin can be manipulated. And, you know, this is a decentralized, transparent network. You can follow all the activity online. It's highly unlikely.
It had to be that because he understands, Cathie. He's got enough. Not many people do. A lot of people don't have enough knowledge about how it works to make an informed decision about Bitcoin. He taught at MIT so he understands that it's not a Ponzi scheme or a Beanie Baby. Right. So there has to be something else.
Well, I don't know what it is. I have wondered. There's speculation that he's interested in the Treasury Secretary position at some point. What does the Treasury Secretary do?
Protecting fiat for the government?
I mean, very focused on. I don't know. I don't understand it myself because he definitely understands.
He understands. So there's something else.
There's something.
Okay, but Cathie Wood actually citing his ambitions as one of the reasons why he is being hostile towards the space. I actually happen to agree with Cathie Wood, and we've stated this time and time again that Gensler's a very ambitious individual, certainly when it comes to his government career, and that he is eyeing the Treasury position, which is all about the dollar and the dollar dominance. And that may be a bit of a conflicting interest there, but that means that he's going into this with a massive bias and treating it probably unfairly as a result of it. You know, we looked at the nonsensical nature that BlackRock even themselves have called out in regards to filing for an Ethereum ETF. It says an Ethereum futures, which is allowed in the US. You can even have a leveraged Ethereum futures, which speculates on the price of Ethereum. You just can't have one that's actually backed by assets, the underlying asset that it represents, which would arguably be more stable. And also this kind of manipulation thing. Is Bitcoin manipulated? As somebody that's traded these markets for a long time, I can definitely confirm that at times the market is manipulated. I would say at times probably by some of the institutions unofficially. But given its on-chain nature, it actually has a far more transparent vehicle, the asset Bitcoin, than the likes of some of the stock market out there and everything in between. So very good, very interesting in what Cathie Wood has to say. Let's look at what JP Morgan had to say weighing in on all this. JP Morgan says Bitcoin ETFs already exist in Canada and Europe and have had little interest from investors since their inception. Two biggest Bitcoin ETFs in Canada have approximately $1.3 billion USD in combined AUM. US is 22 times bigger stock market than Canada. 1.3 22 times is 2.8 billion. Sounds bullish to me, right? So JP Morgan did actually say that they might not see as much interest. They also cite GBTC. However, they compared it to Canada and Europe. And Canada's a way smaller market. Europe, significantly bigger than Canada, of course, but less than the US. The US is the big one, and if we have done this look at other assets that went through this whole rigmarole of getting an ETF approved, a spot ETF approved, like the S&P 500, which is why BlackRock own pretty much the entire stock market, by the way, and the likes of gold. Australia started really it off, then you had Canada, Europe, and then the US was kind of the last domino to fall. So we're very much following that similar trajectory. And although partly agree with JP Morgan's expectations, we have looked at institutional appetite really ramping up in previous videos this week. And we've shown actually where's retail's at in terms of Google searches and retail inflows. Let's move on to yesterday's big event. And of course, it was the CPI print for the United States, which is how the United States track inflation. And you can see that the expectation was 3.3. The actual was 3.2. I believe I thought it was 3.1. Must have been 3.2. Yesterday was a very busy day for us. If you look at where risk... So let's relate this to the dollar. You also had falling inflation in the United Kingdom. So let's relate this to the dollar. So if you look at where risk ran into trouble, we're going to use Bitcoin. We're not going to use the bond market and the housing market to confuse things. But if you look at where risk ran into trouble, it was where the dollar started to gain strength back in July. And this was largely tailored with or as a result of the higher inflationary print. So a bit of uncertainty caused a bit of a short-term top for risk. We then speculated that the dollar was likely to turn based on this weekly candle here, which we would call a spinning top, which essentially, spinning top, think of those things you spin on the table. That's where it comes from. And that was potentially a key technical sign that could lead to a broader downtrend. And we had two events that saw the dollar really roll over. So we'd kind of drawn a bit of a range on here, short-term range on the daily time frame. This was caused by non-farm payroll. Very common. Then after a momentous move, you have a retracement of it. All your ICT traders out there will be calling this a fair value gap, whatever. And then you have continuation to the downside that was technically signaled before fundamental news like the CPI was apparent. I know a lot of people don't think technical analysis works. We're living proof that it does work. We've been pulling out an okay living from trading the markets for a long time. And of course, teach technical analysis because we really do champion it. We're not snake oil salesmen here. It's just honestly something that we see merit in. So the broader context, of course, from this candle was we said risk is going to do well if the dollar goes down. It's all about getting the dollar right. Look at what risk has done since the weekly candle that we looked at and with the confirmation of now the downtrend. If the dollar, and we've shown the historic correlation between these assets that we likely include real estate and debt in, bonds more importantly. If the dollar is now in this broader channel, this is going to line up with our thinking of markets doing well into a crash that we've said actually is likely going to be a debt-based crash with all the refinancing and things that are going on. Remember, rates lag. This is kind of what we're envisioning. Continuation for the downside for the dollar. Risk going to do well in this time period. We've got technical fundamentals and historical context to back that up. So you actually could see a full Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory play out. And the dollar's at a key turning point at a time where the cryptocurrency market is breaking out. You've been very much pinned under here, really where you started, or you found your first little bit of support. And now you're breaking out of what is resistance, wherever you want to draw your resistance. You know, we'd probably put it here because it's got the most sort of significance, also historically significant. So somewhere around here, you've now broken out. It is on elevated volume, nothing massively impressive. I don't think retail is largely here, and we've looked at that through the likes of Google Trends and a number of other things. This is a broken out market, and this is a market, in my opinion, that may get to the tens of trillions in the next bull run. And it could be institutionally driven with the likes of altcoin ETF filings, you know, that they will front run. And once you get that, you know, it kind of opens the floodgates. I wouldn't be surprised if Solana, which was one of our trades given, actually ends up with an ETF. You know, Solana ran into a little bit of headwind. Lots of alts ran into headwind. You know, yesterday you had a monumental day for the stock market. Remember, we still have upside target. This is very much progressing as we had expected. Microsoft going on into new all-time highs, hit our initial head and shoulders target from the start of the year. Everything's going in the right direction. Dollar, if something walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, you're having duck for dinner. And this is very much what we expect. Dollar's had a bit of a slam down, could find a bit of support here, but we're hoping it rolls from there. Inflation, the kind of macro narrative is now supportive. If you look at the UK, inflation also came down. This is against the Dixie, also the Dixies to be watched. Lowest level in 2 years. I believe we also saw mortgage applications come back somewhat. I don't think it has it on here, but everything is going in the direction. Crypto market has broken out, in our opinion. We think you're in a bull market that we've assessed a fundamental change for Bitcoin down at 15K. I remember we were out in 2022. All the pieces of the puzzle are aligning, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this content. Stay tuned for my evening video where we're going to be diving into a number of interesting things happening in the space. So that's really all I've got for you guys. If you've enjoyed this content, like us, appreciate it, so as a comment, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.